simplify a radical, bless you, to simplify a radical, we need to figure out what is the largest perfect square that goes into that radical. So it will be in our best interest to list our perfect squares. So our perfect squares, we have 0 squared is 0, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, 6 squared is 36, 7 squared is 49, 8 squared is 64, 9 squared is 81, 10 squared is 100, 11 squared is 121, 12 squared is 144, 13 squared is 169, 14 squared is 196, and lastly, 15 squared is 225. These are the ones that you're responsible for. All right, now 0 and 1 aren't going to help us, so let's just scratch those out. Okay, so we need to figure out the perfect square that goes into 192. Now, ideally, we would find the largest perfect square that goes into 192. But we can do this problem as long as we find any perfect square that goes into 192. So I know that 4 is going to go into 192. So 4 times what? Well, 4 times 25 is 100. 4 times 23 is 92. So 25 and 23 is 48. Okay, now let's see if we can simplify this. Well, the square root of 4 is 2, so we pull the 2 on the outside. Can we split up 48 into any perfect squares? Well, let's see. What's the largest perfect square that goes into 48? Yes, 4 goes into 48, but is there anything bigger? 9? No, that doesn't work. Does 16 work? Yes, it does. 16 times 3 is 48. So we have 2 on the outside. Now we're going to pull out the square root of 16 is 4. So 2 times 4. And we have times the square root of 3. Well, we can't split up the square root of 3 anymore. So we have 2 times 4, which is 8, times the square root of 3. Okay, 37 should be very simple. What is the square root of 64? 8. The whole number. 8 times 8 is 64. Okay, when we multiply radicals, when we multiply square roots, radical and square root meaning the same thing, if the number is inside the square root, it stays inside the square root. The number's on the outside, it stays on the outside. So, the square root of 8 times the square root of 2, they're both on the inside. So we're going to make a square root, and then we're just going to multiply them. 8 times 2 is 16. The square root of 16 is simply 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So for problem 38, the answer is the number 4. Okay, over here we have coefficients. So we're going to multiply the coefficients. 5 times 5 is 25. Then we have a square root. Inside the square root, we're going to multiply the two numbers that are inside the square root. We have 6 times 6, which is 36. Now we're going to simplify the square root of 36. Well, the square root of 36 is a whole number. 36 is a perfect square. 6 times 6 is 36. So here we have 25 times 6. Think about counting with quarters. You have 6 quarters. You have $1.50. So 25 times 6 is 150. Okay. For problem 40, we have to distribute the square root of 15. Now this works the same way. If a number's on the outside of the square root, it stays on the outside. If it's on the inside, it stays on the inside. So we have this 5, it's on the outside, so it's going to stay on the outside. The 15 is on the inside, so it stays on the inside. Plus Now these two are both inside, so we're going to have the square root of 150. So now we need to see if we can simplify this. Well, can we simplify the square root of 15? Is there any perfect square that goes into 15? Well, let's just list some of our perfect squares. We have 0, 1, 4, 9, 16. 16 is already bigger, so we don't need any more. 0 and 1 don't help. 4 doesn't go into 15. 9 doesn't go into 15. And 16 doesn't go into 15. So we're done. There's nothing we can simplify there. No perfect square goes into 15. So all we have there is 5 square root of 15. Now, are there any perfect squares that go into 150? 4? No. 9? No. 16? No. 25? Yes, 25 goes into 150. 25 times 6 is 150. Well, the square root of 25 is 5. So we pull the 5 on the outside of the square root, and we have the square root of 6. Is there any perfect square that goes into 6? No, there's no perfect square that goes into 6. So we're left with 5 square root of 15 times 5 square root of 6. And that's our answer. Okay, we have to distribute again. So we have square root of 5 times the square root of 6. Well, they're both under the square root. So we make a square root. 5 times 6 is 30. The square root of 5 times the square root of 5. Well, they're both under the square root. So that gives us a square root of 25. Okay, can we simplify the square root of 30? Let's think about this. Okay, 0 and 1 don't help. 4 doesn't go into 30. 9 doesn't go into 30. 16 doesn't go into 30. 25 doesn't go into 30. And 36 is too big. So there's no perfect square that goes into 30. So we're done. We cannot simplify the square root of 30. The square root of 25 happens to simply be the number 5. So we're left with square root of 30 plus 5. Record. All right, square root of 30 plus the square root of 5. Now, plus 5, just 5. Now this makes sense because we have the square root of 5 times the square root of 5. And the whole point is that if you multiply the square root of 5 by the square root of 5, you get 5. That's what a square root is. What times itself equals that thing? Okay, and lastly, we have division. Okay, so we need to simplify our numerator and our denominator. So here we have 5 times the square root of 8. Well, the square root of 8 can be broken down into 4 times 2. And then down here we have 4 times the square root of 4. Well, the square root of 4 is just the number 2. So we have 5 times the square root of 4 is 2 times the square root of 2. Down here, we have 4 times 2. Notice I didn't multiply them out because it's easier just to cancel the 2's. So they make a 1. We get rid of them. So we're left with 5 times the square root of 2 over 4. 5 times the square root of 2 over 4. And the final problem on your review, we have 4 times the square root of 15. Well, can we simplify the square root of 15? Let's see. 4 doesn't go into it. 9 doesn't go into it. 16 doesn't go into it. So no, we cannot simplify the square root of 15. Okay, can we simplify the square root of 20? Yes. 4 times 5 is 20. So we have 4 times the square root of 15 over The square root of 4 is 2 times the square root of 5. 4 divided by 2 is 2. We have the square root of 15 over the square root of 5. Now, listen very carefully. For the test, I would accept 2 times the square root of 15 over the square root of 5. I've not asked you to do any more than that at this point. I will tell you that this is equal to 2 square root of 3. I don't want you to worry about that. I would be perfectly happy with this answer right here. This is where I expect you to be for the test tomorrow.